Hello everyone, welcome back to SummoNerds. I'm Evan.
And I'm Matt.
Today we've got our finals match here. So this is Prometheus and Prelate going at it for the second time. They met in the winners semis, and now they're back in this. They're back in this matchup, the finals number one. I was trying to figure out how to describe this. If Prelate wins this matchup, then he has to play again. And if Prometheus wins this matchup, it's over.
Right.
So, because Prometheus has not lost yet, and so, if he wins, it's just all over.
Right.
Double elimination tournament. Prometheus went first, charging straight into the fray.
Yeah,
we're getting right into this thing.
Just like Sam Farthen loves, getting his face up in everybody else's face.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah. We got an ice armor going under that Berserker to make sure we don't miss that. But what's interesting about this matchup is Sam is so good at playing common heavy and just out-commoning these other units, and Torgan doesn't have a clear answer to that. Berserkers, as one type of common, do actually pretty much hard counter Sam's ability because they already miss.
In one sense it is.
They already miss threes, so there's just Sam's ability is nothing to them.
They're like, we're that bad anyway.
Exactly. And they're just cost-effective 3 attack to life for that kind of, if you're not really losing that anyway.
Yeah.
But what we've got here is just an interesting matchup. I know Sam can definitely play very common heavy or very champ heavy, it just kind of depends. Torgan can definitely play either way, and that really will change the outcome of this game. Which side people swing to? Are you going to play more common heavy or more champ heavy? And that will determine really the outcome of this game, I think.
And Sam himself is probably going to determine that, whether or not the game's going to go into a champ or common heavy game, depending on, because he's the one he's quick into getting position. I don't even know. I think Sam has the easiest time of getting onto the opponent's side of the field. I haven't actually seen a Sam versus Saturos game. I'd be really interested to see how that goes.
Yeah.
And like who gets over there first and who's like reacting.
Where's the fight stay? Does it stay on your opponent's side? Like whose side ends up being the side for the fight, the contention? Would be interesting to see.
Actually, I guess Milenitar would be because in every Saturos versus Milenitar, Saturos is actually on the defense that I've seen. So maybe Milenitar and Sam would be the better one to see who's actually going to be on the defense for once in their life.
Well, this game's interesting too because Sam can play great defense if he needs to. He has absolutely no reason he has to be on his opponent's side of the board.
Right.
But so can Torgan. So Torgan can also defense, and because Mercs were allowed in this tournament, Etch is a possibility in either deck, and that really sets the pace. Once someone plays Etch, they are the defensive team, unless it's Sam who plays Etch and then Torgan also plays Etch, in which case Torgan's the defensive team because he can infinite magic for a long time.
Right.
So the Berserker misses that Woeful, but we're not going to see a flip going on here. We got one hit there on that Honor Guard. And then that Crusher kills itself. Yeah. Crusher's just stupid.
Yeah, I think, man, I like Woeful's obviously. I love Woeful Brothers. They're just an obvious pick for Sam. Honor Guards, though, I absolutely cannot undervalue the Honor Guards with their free health and their amazing defense and their great movement.
Honestly, the more I play Sam and the more I watch Sam games, his initial commons, his deck as it stands. I don't want to change it. It's really hard to add things to it because all 3 of those commons serve an incredible role. His champs I don't mind changing up a little bit because honestly they're just too expensive on the whole. You need at least one cheap champ, and he starts out with what 8, and 7. So he needs to drop at least one of those 8s down. But other than that, his base deck is phenomenal.
Oh yes.
It's hard to know what to build out. Building in is easy, but building out is tough.
Yeah, typically the Warrior Angels are a great unit, and I don't like to take all of them out, but they're the ones that, in my opinion, serve the least synergistic purpose.
They are the easiest to let go of for whatever reason, but I'm beginning to question whether or not that's always wise.
No, and I use them still because they definitely have their place, and their flight can be so key and flying over walls and things that sometimes Sam gets trapped by.
What I've typically done these days is I usually put a couple in, like a splash two Warrior Angels, something like that, or maybe a warrior angel and a regular angel. I know regular angels, right? That's who uses those. But it's nice to be able to surprise your opponent, to be able to put out more commons than they think are possible, and still have that weird flight movement potential that they just don't see coming, to pull off a play you'd never see.
Mm-hmm. And I do actually like to play some light units in Sam's deck. I like to get some Father Benjamin. I almost always put in these days, just because Sam likes to take a bunch of whacks in the early game.
Yeah.
And he can potentially escape and then heal up with Father Benjamin at some point. Now we got Kogar out here.
And that's gonna make Sam sad.
Straight from the tundra sewer, here comes Kogar.
Yeah, Kogar, the cold-blooded, is very happily at home with these tundra orcs. He's gonna grapple up on that woeful brother, and that woeful brother's just gonna get stuck. And that's really, it's hard for Sam to deal with Kogar, except in the sense that you just got to surround him and pummel him with either tons of commons or just a non-common. Like, I mean, if Sam walks up with a transformation and punches Kogar in the face, there's nothing you can do about that as Kogar. But if Kogar plays real smart and doesn't leave his flanks open, he can be tough for Sam to deal with.
Are you talking about flank stake?
Yes.
Is that what you're... Okay.
I was. I'm glad that Matt's on the notes. We can communicate without speaking, in full sentences. We don't have to explain our whole thoughts.
Oh.
It's just a... Oh, is it like news? You just did it. I'm just saying.
I wasn't aware of it.
Sam transforms, I believe. No, he didn't transform this turn. Sam runs in. He doesn't transform at all. I didn't spoil anything. He runs in to do some of this job himself, try to take care of some of this. He's got another woeful there to help him. 0 hits on Sam on the Berserker, but then the woeful does the job. So Sam trained him well.
Yeah,
the student has become the master.
Exactly.
Has some good Pepsi.
Wow. I've got a Pepsi too.
That's nice. So yeah, what we've got here is actually not so bad for Sam anymore, this position. Kogar is still going to be annoying to deal with, but very doable. The woeful on the bottom is wounded once, so that's a little scary. Glacial Shift, no abolish. Another Glacial Shift, no abolish.
Okay, I'm not abolishing.
That's a little bit interesting, because that either suggests that he doesn't have it or he didn't think it was worth using on those events, which is a little questionable, because that was a little bit of a scary position he's now in.
Sam's going boxing here. He's boxed in.
The Berserker does not hit the woeful because of a divine protection. We gotta see if he wants to flip his way out of there in some way.
This Sam could potentially switch with the woeful in this situation, and then not take any of the attacks and have an escape route.
Yes.
So that was actually a bit of a scary attack. I might have.
He doesn't have a great escape route.
That's true. I guess he would be escaping into danger. Is what he'd be doing, but he wouldn't be taking the attacks at this point.
Yeah, that's very true.
So I don't know.
Only one hit Sam. So that did not go
that's
as
true.
poorly as
So
it could have.
That was a good. Wow,
it ended up being a good move, but I actually don't know what was the best play there. And I think one of the reasons Prometheus did not, he'll probably comment on this if we get him to commentate later. One of the reasons he didn't abolish, if he hadn't abolished, I actually don't know when he had these abolishes yet. That's news to me. I'll learn eventually. But if he didn't abolish, part of the reason was anywhere Prelate dropped that ice wall, he could have run up with an invader, and he could have foregloried.
Right, exactly.
And I think if you get an early foreglory opportunity, Torgan versus Sam, even if you don't get a good surround, and even if only one unit gets to make it, I think it's almost worth it, because Sam is going to save his abolish for that foreglory, and if you get your abolish out before, or if you get your foreglory out before Sam has an abolish, that's great.
No, I think that is important to note, is that with an event like foreglory, you don't benefit from holding on to it.
No,
because it'll just get abolished later.
Yeah. The only thing you can hope for is that you're clogging Sam's hand with abolishes, but that's not. When you're playing a fast-paced, aggressive Torgan, you don't want to clog Sam's hand too much, because then it just slows up how fast he's burning through his deck, and that if the game goes too long, your deck is gone, and Sam, because you clogged his hand, he has a deck left,
right.
and that's bad. You don't want to be in that situation.
And early hits on Sam are just nice. They might if you can get a decent amount of damage going early, he's going to be less likely to try and keep bowling through.
Yep.
If you can get him to back off, that's a big win.
So Sam transformed this turn. He's trying to decide kill the invader or hit Kogar with 4 dice.
Yeah,
wasting 4 on the invader is rough, but at the same time, might be important to get rid of the thing.
Yeah, that is a tough decision.
He did kill the wall with the Warrior Angel, and that was incredibly important, killing that ice wall.
I might be more inclined to take a swing at Kogar, actually. I don't know. That is tough.
I think I would have chosen the invader personally. But that's just, it feels bad to waste the transform. The problem is you're not really wasting the transform because you're just playing the transform defensively, not offensively.
Right, exactly. And that's why it's a tough call, but eventually I feel like we're going to have to take Kogar down at some point.
Oh yeah.
And those opportunities where you have a lot of dice are just nice. We haven't moved yet, have we?
He has moved. He moved the Warrior Angel and hit the ice wall behind Sam.
Oh, okay.
And so 2 units have attacked. He only has 1 attack left.
Oh, I see.
It's got to be Sam because he's got 4 dice.
If we had moved, obviously we'd just attack the invader with something else. But
the interesting thing here to note also is that Sam only has 1 wound, so he's in an okay position. If he chose to let that invader get around him, that might not be the worst thing. The interesting problem would be another shift, another glacial shift, could trap him for, potentially the rest of the game.
Yeah, that is the last one, though, right, if it was used?
It would be. Or just another unit. You could summon another unit off that regular wall.
And
he went for the invader. He got 1 out of 4, so actually that was a great choice just based on the dice. But
and this is actually important also with abolishes against Torgan, because that's how we were playing this game right that one time.
Yep.
And I chose to abolish the surge instead, so you couldn't even shift if you wanted to unless you had the other surge. Because there are only 2 copies of surge, I feel like is actually a better
abolish choice.
A better abolish choice. But now that there's only 1 shift left, it's a very reasonable abolish choice.
Interestingly, though, I kind of like letting them play the surge, waiting for the shift, and then abolishing the shift, because if they don't have the other shift, or if you have 2 abolishes in your hand, you can trap them with their own ice walls, and they've wasted now 2 events for your 1. If you really don't think they have another shift, if they only have 1 shift, for example, let them use the surge. There's no reason not to.
Well, that's what I mean. At this point, now that there's only 1, but because initially surge has 3, I don't ever feel good about abolishing the first surge, the first shift, because there are just so many of them that's I'll just play this one.
Surge is tough because it sounds like they're surging forward.
But surge is actually them forming. They're surging upwards, I guess, from the ground.
So we've got a really great play there. Nice defensive wall, and the Warrior Angel does what it does best, and blocks off for Sam. That's just nothing getting through that. Not quickly anyway. Kogar is still a problem, but he's surrounded by 3 high attack value commons now, or reasonably high attack value commons. So he can only deal with 1 at a time, really, and Sam is close enough that the Warrior Angel isn't going to be killed quite as easily. Sam's only got 3 wounds on him, too, after those 7 dice thrown at him over the past couple turns. So he's doing okay. He's lasting well.
Now, some of those were transformed dice, right?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, wow. So, Kogar
just took
a big whack in there.
Kogar just took 4 to the face, and that was unfortunate. 4 out of 4, actually, which is important. So that's actually just rough for Kogar. That puts him in a bad spot. He did crush the Woeful on his right to death with his grapple, which will allow for a summon on that wall point, which is cool. I like that works out that way. He could have gone for the one below him for this, but not. Yeah, he could have gone for the one below him for the same effect, but the positioning wasn't necessarily better there. I don't know. It would have allowed Kogar some space to back up, but at the same time, it's kind of. I think it's better that position on the right is open than the position on the bottom is open, because we're going to get something here where he's going to move up in wall crowd perhaps. He's thinking about it. We're thinking about it. This is a tough position to be in. Watching Sam wall in from 2 sides and put something in front of him like that, that's a little demoralizing. So I think that we're thinking through some of these moves a little slower than earlier in the game when you feel more excitement, when you feel like you have a better shot at the game. Smasher going up there. Smashers are nice. I like seeing those still.
Oh yeah, definitely. Smashers. It's just fun to see such a low cost, high health unit out there.
Absolutely. Because Sam doesn't have crushers, so there's nothing easy that you can summon to wipe that out with one attack. You do have to waste 2 attacks on that thing, and there's no way Sam's going to easily get 2 angles on that, 2 sides of that Smasher covered.
Yeah, so
you
might
could
have
fly the Angel over and then move something else, summon something else in attack, but that's wasting a lot of resources on the Smasher.
Yeah, or again use a transform. That'll do it, but that's almost a waste of a transform, but it could be necessary.
Torgan attacked that Woeful and got flipped right around, and so that's unfortunate for him. It doesn't put him in a bad spot, but it's bad that he didn't kill the Woeful. Kogar grapples the Angel, which is really important, actually. Restricting that Angel's movement means unless something miraculous happens here for Sam with like Archangel or some nonsense, which he doesn't have magic for anyway, Kogar's safe for one more turn, and that's nice.
Yeah.
Heavy Knight. The answer to Kogar, more Heavy Knights.
Yeah, Heavy Knights are just great. My goodness,
they're phenomenal in Sam too because they're so dang hard to kill. They are every life you add on to a unit, Sam's ability works on that life. It operates upon that object.
Right.
So the more life your commons have, the better Sam's ability is. Sam is better for high life commons than he is for low life commons. So it's just amazing. Go. Yeah, it is amazing watching Sam with Heavy Knights because they become more cost effective in his deck than in anyone else's. That's what I'm trying to say.
Right, there we go, talking about low life units.
Low life units, those scummy units. They are filthy.
They all have a place in
Joe's
this world.
Favorites. The filthy units.
Yeah, filthy.
But that Heavy Knight can't do any more to that Smasher than an Invader could.
Right? Yep. Yep, definitely
A cheap
not.
little Invader. So Sam does kill his own Woeful Angel to save a little magic there.
He kills his own
Woeful
what?
Angel? No.
Wow.
I
need another sip of Pepsi.
Here's my Sam knowledge card. I give it to you. My geek card for Sam. I don't know what this card is. I found it just on my desk.
It's a geek card.
Okay,
It's just what it was.
So he kills his own Warrior Angel, and Woeful gets a little strike on Torgan. But that's nice because that Warrior Angel was just going to get in the way, and the magic was just going to go to Prelate next turn. So there's no reason to hold on to that. Also worth noting, this is cool. So the way the tournament worked, you were only allowed to use your Tier A summoner, your kind of more respected in the community summoner, a certain amount of times. In this matchup, Prelate can use his... That sounds so unnatural to me, I'm sorry. Prelate can use his Tier A summoner one of the next 2 games. If he wins this one, he can use it the next time. If he had wanted to, he could have used it this game. He could have used Saturos this game and used Torgan next game. But the way the tournament worked out, Prometheus had to use Sam this game. So he was restricted to Sam and could not use Tacullu unless he loses this match. If he loses this match, then next round he can use Tacullu. That doesn't mean anything to a newcomer to the game, but to a more seasoned player, that the matchups are really interesting and important, and especially your preference on the matchups matters.
Right,
Having the
exactly.
freedom to choose or to bluff your way out of a matchup is cool, and Prometheus did not have that this time around. So it's interesting that, and probably what I would have done, that Prelate went with Torgan versus Sam so that he does not have to do Torgan versus Tacullu if he wins.
Yeah.
Because that matchup's a little harder.
And yeah, in my teams that I had in the tournament, I felt just as comfortable with either one. In fact, I might have even had a preference on my Tier B summoner to use. So if you're comfortable with your Tier B, then it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, and you can use the Tier B as many times as you want. It's only the Tier A that's restricted, which is important. So what we've got here is we're kind of assessing the game on the side there. We're not sure really how Prelate's going to easily get out of this position, or Prelate is not as sure. I actually think this is still a very winnable game, but it is tough. Sam is in a better position. That is just absolutely sure. It's hard because that extra wall went down. Wall crowding is pretty much out of the picture at this point as a viable strategy. Heavy Knights really negate Kogar. Kogar is pretty weak anyway. Sam has the same life as Torgan. Mm-hmm. Torgan does have range, which is nice. But that's about it. The Thwarter could be a problem if Prometheus dice don't come through for him.
Right, and it's important to note that the 4 glory at this point is probably going to get abolished just because it's
yes, it's been enough time.
Yeah.
Sam only has 10 cards left in his deck. He's drawn at least one abolish, and he's got to be holding it. Yep. Because that 4 glory is the event to abolish. Mm-hmm. Certain summoners don't have one event you have to abolish. Frick is obviously the one that comes to mind. He's got 3 events, and he's got
3 of each.
Yeah, 3 of each. So you can't really abolish your way out of anything but a tight spot against Frick. Right. But saving an abolish for 4 glory is the thing you have to do in this matchup as Sam. Mm-hmm. You have to be able to block that.
Yep.
Because that is the deadliest thing, especially now that Torgan can summon units behind you in the event phase. That's crazy.
Yep.
You have to be able to block that.
Other ones that come to mind are Krusk with his Mirage.
Yep.
Right? That's another one.
That's very scary. That's great to
Saturos
abolish.
Relentless Advance is probably definitely a high priority target.
Yeah, well, it's interesting, Louis. Saturos, I was talking about this with Prelate earlier, that it has to be either Relentless Advance or Greater Blood Summon, because you can't abolish the other two.
Yeah,
they're not during the event phase.
Yep,
so
definitely true.
So you got to pick your moments. If a Greater Blood Summon would just wreck you in that moment, you abolish that.
Yep.
But if the Relentless Advance is going to wreck you, you got to. I mean, that's the obvious. There's only one of those, so watch for that one for sure. But Greater Blood Summon, I don't know. There could be a game where you want to abolish 2 Greater Blood Summons. That could happen. Mm-hmm. Depends on your position.
Yeah, definitely true.
All right, Kogar's grappling the Woeful. He does get 2 hits on Sam, which is good for Torgan. That puts him in a little better position. He had to move the Smasher back, either forfeiting it to the Heavy Knight or just relinquishing his positioning a little bit to make sure Torgan doesn't get surrounded too easily this turn by something powerful. Mm-hmm. Probably a good play, but it's hard because he is moving backwards, and in this position, if Sam gets out of this safely, he probably wins. It'd be hard for Torgan to beat him at this point because Torgan's only got 5 cards in his deck. Sam's got 7, and he has a full hand. Mm-hmm. So Torgan's really got 3 cards left in his deck.
Torgan's definitely at the deck disadvantage at this point.
And the magic disadvantage by 1. So if Sam gets out of this, Sam's got similar resources on the field as Torgan. That Heavy Knight is probably roughly equivalent to like the Kogar, or like Kogar plus the Thwarter, in terms, and the Woeful Brother, the Wounded Woeful Brother, and the Wounded Smasher probably roughly equivalent. So Sam and Torgan are in similar states. If Sam is able to go on the defensive and get out of this safely, he's probably in a very strong position.
Yep, and here we have a transformation going down.
Kogar's gone, which means the Woeful won't die this turn.
Yep.
Which is actually important, that Torgan will have to spend resources on this turn to kill that Woeful or risk Torgan taking damage that he really can't afford at this stage.
Mm-hmm. Now, right, there is still 1 shift left in the deck, right? Or
there is a shift left. And both surges, actually. Both surges are still there.
Yeah, so...
and for glory.
So I think it's pretty obvious here that Prometheus is holding an abolish. Otherwise, Sam is vulnerable to actually lose this game.
Yep. With a nice pay for a wall and shift over him, and maybe Invader or something like that.
Yeah, well, he can't shift over Sam, right? But I was thinking.
Oh, you're correct. Shift over the Heavy Knight, though.
I guess actually what I was mistakenly picturing was no, it still works actually. If he just puts a wall next to him, if he just put a wall next to himself, shift it and then summon an Invader, it's 4 to hit 3. Transformed, of course, but
no, you're correct. Yeah, you can't just go right over Sam. But you can go over that Heavy Knight. You can just go right past the Heavy Knight. You can't hurt it, I don't believe, but you can go through it.
Yeah. That also works.
And just get behind Sam and block his summoning point from that side. We're going to see another transformation, or is that the transformation going away?
That was it going away.
Good. So Sam did take a hit even though he was transformed, which is unfortunate for him, but 2 life left, still in an okay position here to get out. He is a little bit scarier now that those minor ice walls make a difference, but having 8 magic and a full hand of cards, there are a lot of plays. There are a lot of potential hands that could get you into a safe place for this next couple turns. He just has to have them. He has to have the hand and play it correctly.
Yep.
But he still has a heavy knight on the board too. That's just tough. And the problem is Torgan needs to get one play to get Sam dead right away.
Yep.
But Sam just has to survive and make sure that one play doesn't come along. And it doesn't matter that Torgan has 5 life, because if it comes down to Torgan versus Rygos now, the game is done. Rygos will kill Torgan before Torgan kills Rygos.
Right.
So it has to be an assassination play on Sam at this point in the game.
Yep.
Sam just has to live. It's an exciting game.
Yeah.
Matt hasn't seen this yet. This is new.
I
to
know.
him.
That's why I was intensely focused on the board position there, because this is something I've done as Sam as well. Is you get in there, you do some work, and then it's like, okay, I have the advantage here, but I'm definitely in range of losing if I'm not careful. Yeah. So that's when you back off and can potentially play for your champions at this point. You can transition from your aggression into defense with your champions. And
Rygos was a nice choice for champion, especially knowing that he was probably going to face Torgan. Prometheus was able to work that out in advance, that Torgan was the most likely pick for his opponent. So Rygos is good for the thwarters, specifically. What he's doing right now is he's picking off the thwarters with assured wounds. And that's solid, because Sam is going to struggle just a little bit with the thwarters if he's going champ heavy. Heavy knights with Sam, near Sam, I guess. Heavy knights that are near Sam are decent against thwarters. But it's also nice that he's got a champion that can deal with them more directly, or deal a direct assured damage to his opponent's summoner, or his opponent's ice walls, any of those things. If Bragg is out, those ice walls don't matter so much. If Rygos is around, he can shoot the ice walls.
Yep, all true.
I don't know, any of those things is nice and important. In fact, I think Rygos could sit next to an ice wall, swing 3 dice at it, and then still shoot it.
Yep, he definitely
as long as there are no opponents around. So as long as he hits one of them,
absolutely.
Bragg is not so scary if you have Rygos. The thwarter does get a nice hit on Rygos there, and and Torgan does not kill that wall. Torgan had a chance to kill the wall and rolled 2 1s, so that's that. It's hard to know whether or not that was vital, but it was certainly emotionally defeating for Torgan.
Yep, definitely.
But it's hard to know if breaking that open would have really helped Torgan more, or if it
just leads something in to his face that he doesn't really want there.
Yeah, I think it's a lateral move. It could have helped either side, just depended on the cards in their hands.
Yeah, exactly.
So Sam's going to run back here. He's going to take care of this thwarter with Rygos, and then he's not safe, that's for sure. What some of you may have caught on here is there's a really good play that could be made, since he's dropping cards into his magic right now.
Yeah, it's
I see a Merc in Prelate's hand. Two of them.
So no, I know. I definitely see. Here's the thing about the abolishes are only going to go so far if so we can do this.
Yep.
Right.
And then just summon.
Yep.
You can't if you don't see that play coming. That's hard.
Yeah. Well, no, I was again, there could have been surges that came out there, right?
There's a shift with an abolish, but it doesn't matter.
Yep.
If the 2 for 2 goes through.
Right, exactly, and this was what I was going to say is just a great counter to the abolishes. That's what I was noticing when they moved to this position. It's just this is something you just have to absolutely be paying attention to Torgan at all times now because of stuff like that. And I would actually argue he is one of those decks, along with Mad Syrian, that just he doesn't care about. Oh no! So
the roll went bad. And For Glory got abolished. That was important if you missed it. For Glory and the Shift got abolished. So both abolishes gone. Torgan does take out the wall. There we go.
Yeah. So
snaps on that turn.
It's important to also note that as an ice. Where were the ice armors? Have they all been discarded? Where did
one more, maybe. No, I mean, at this point, it's in Magic if it's anywhere because he doesn't have it in his hand. Yeah. But only 2 got played.
Okay.
So at this point, no events left for Torgan because he's only got the 1 Merc card in his hand.
I think it was impossible for 2 abolishes to eliminate all possibilities for that turn.
It was.
And actually, it was just impossible because Torgan himself is not an event card. So he just uses it.
Doing things during the event phase is still very valid. Etch is out, and that's a little scary for Torgan. Yeah. But this late in the game, there's only so much he can do. He can basically get out the card Prometheus has in his hand. But after that, Etch is just a very average champion for his attack value, and he doesn't have any. His ability is only supportive if you have cards that need played. It's useless once you're in combat mode with him. Mm-hmm. So at the end of the game, he's like a subpar champion in combat. You would be better off with, I don't know, something that has an actual ability that affects combat. Even Conqueso has like an ability that can affect your opponent through damage. But Etch is only useful for getting out these last few cards, and only if Sam can live. And honestly, if Sam lives at this point, he's won. That's I mean, he doesn't need Etch for that. He can just win if he lives. Mm-hmm. So trying to figure out here how to get Sam completely safe from these opponents around him. We're not real sure what this card in Prelate's hand is, but it could be Luke's or Lukestor, and that would be real scary. Mm-hmm. Are you thinking younger? I'm thinking younger.
For those who think young, that's that Pepsi is.
Some young mind going on right now. But yeah, it's important. Lukestor can fly over that wall, actually, Sam's wall. So if he moves the invader, he could fly over the wall potentially. He could fly over a unit. And then he's got range, which is scary.
Yep.
And could, at this point still, he'd have to go 2 for 2, but that's possible. It's actually still possible to win if it's that card.
Yep. And we have seen in the previous tournament game, we saw a Lukestor
in Torgan's deck. I know that he's changed his Torgan deck a little bit between games. But because he was building against a probable Sam, or actually he was building against a for sure Sam. He knew he was playing Sam, but he still had the ability to change his deck through. So I'm not positive that he kept that, but we're about to find out.
Now, interesting. Rygos was adjacent to that invader when he attacked, right?
Yeah.
So that was a very high probable, but it was a must hit. It was a definite must hit there.
Well, if he had moved him anywhere else, there was a possibility that there could have been some weird play to get up. I don't know. I mean, actually, from where he is, I don't know that there was.
No, I think it was. I would have just moved Rygos into a position so he could just get the clean shot.
Get the clean shot off? Yeah. That's fair. Because if you missed all 3 for some reason, if you missed that 96% chance or whatever it is, there's a 40% chance you lose.
Yeah. No, I guess since Lukestor was the fear, right? Well, I guess
I don't know if there's a move Lukestor can make.
Never mind.
That's the thing. Yeah, it's actually
he still killed him. Yeah, so like I was thinking about he had some kind of like greater flight. No, he just flies.
Just normal flight.
And of course his other ability, being even more interesting.
Yeah. So this is a tough spot for Torgan here. I don't really know what Torgan's going to do to get out of this. The thing is, Torgan still has 5 life left. That is his greatest asset at this point, is he's been very careful with his summoner, which is worth noting. Some summoners, I like getting some wounds on them early. Sam, for example, tanks some wounds early, run away with him.
Yep.
Torgan, it's nice to have him pristine for the end.
Yep.
Grognak's another one. If you can protect your commons early on, let him tank a few hits. But if you don't need to run out there into the fray, leave him pristine.
That's actually interesting that Grognak is somebody that seems to actually benefit from not being in the fray early.
Because late game, he's a 4 AV unit with 7 life, and I mean, what are you gonna use against that?
And I think it's important that it's probably because Grognak has no means to actually protect himself if he gets surrounded.
Yep.
He doesn't have any events that can get him out of that. Really,
no.
You can throw some freezes down and they can unfreeze themselves and whack him again. I don't know.
But yeah, it's better probably to use those when you have like Bragg in position to do something with that. And I don't know, there's probably a better time earlier in the game to use freezes.
Right, but yes, I agree. It is important to keep Torgan. He's more fragile than he seems. And it's important. I like to use him defensively, and then maybe in the end game, he's strong because he has more health.
Because he has more life.
Who's left?
He has as much life as anything else on the board, and that's important at this point. The Thwarter is not in a great position because it cannot hit Sam at this point, but it is still a threat because it will be hard to kill. Rygos can't kill it in one turn. Any of the other units could go 2 for 2 on it, but they would have to go 2 for 2. and it's a little scary to move them close to the thwarter. It's better to wait till the thwarter comes to you, but that means possibly letting it take an attack on Sam.
Yep.
All of that's very difficult to judge in these last few turns. It's all going to come down to a couple turns, and Sam is in an advantageous position, but because he's so low on health or life or whatever, he could take a 2-for-2 from a Lucestor or a Luke story. At these pronunciations, man, it's like the players and the cards and the.
I feel it was supposed to be Luke store based off the.
If you're getting on Vassal for the first time, name yourself Bob. And then I'll pronounce it right every time, every single time. Yeah. But it's hard because he has to use his units. He has an advantage. Prometheus has an advantage right now, but he has to use his advantage defensively because if he leaves an opening, he has a 44% chance of losing.
There's you still need to think about these last moves here.
Yeah.
There's definitely some thought, definitely a winning position, but can't slip up at the finish line.
No, absolutely not. Not at this stage. It's so close. You got to weather the storm and hope the dice gods, are in your favor.
And there's our little buddy Luke Story's out there. He's like squawk.
And so Torgan takes a couple rolls on him, and so does Luke Store.
I like heavy knight squawk.
Torgan does a 3 and a 4 on him, which is 1 wound, not 2, because Sam is nearby. That's why those heavy knights are sick in Sam's deck. But Torgan here has to take at least 5 dice, 7 dice. Has to take at least 7 dice, but could take more in the right circumstance, possibly. I actually didn't see how much magic Prometheus had. I guess 4. So he probably couldn't have taken more than that. There's probably going to be 7 dice no matter what. 7 to hit 5 that's the odds. Yep. So that's what we've got here is we've got a play on Torgan for the odds. If not, the thwarter could hit Sam. Torgan can shoot the heavy knight, and if he gets 2 dice over 3, then Luke Store could shoot through possibly. But that's all not great odds. I mean, that's at this point.
This is definitely
looking
tough
bad for
Torgan, but who knows? We've seen some crazy things in this game.
You can watch earlier videos on our channel for less likely victories. So I think I joked with Prelate about channeling Moldaria from an earlier game, and then I said some joking thing, and there's some great text here on the side if you're reading that right now. Preaching to a preacher, preaching to the choir, and then if he likes to sing, etc. What we have here is 3 for 7, which is exactly what Torgan did on Sam earlier in the game. 3 for 7 leaves Torgan with 2 life left, and actually 2 life left is significantly better than 1 life left in this scenario, because that means Rygos cannot kill him with a clean shot. If this turn goes south, Rygos still can't for sure win. That's important. True. That's actually weirdly important. But Torgan goes for it and hits it. Lucestor 6 and a 3, game Prelate.
Wow.
Yeah. That's
holy cow.
So Prometheus.
Whoa! I was not expecting that ending. I didn't see this game at all. My mind is completely blown with what just happened there.
That was quite the game. Yep. Prometheus played an amazing game and probably played it exactly how it should. A mildly aggressive opening to gain some magic, mess up some of Torgan's units, put himself in maybe an advantageous economy position, then pull back as soon as Sam starts taking wounds. As soon as you get your first wall and you can save Sam, get him out of there. And that worked great. Torgan didn't get the dice in the early game, and that was a little hard for him. But later was able to get some surprise hits on Sam that Sam had to take himself. And then he got out of there and he had to survive with 2 wounds to go. Yeah, 2 life left. And that's difficult against Torgan these days. That is not easy to do. Interestingly, all 4 champions we saw summoned were mercenaries. We didn't see a single in-faction champion summoned.
That is interesting. I've never personally seen that before.
And as far as I understand it, I'm trying to think of what I heard about the champions in each one's deck. I don't actually know for sure if there were other champions. If we have commentary later, it'll go after this part, and we'll learn what champions they had, when he got abolishes, etc. Looks like that's actually the end of the game. So thanks everyone for watching. It was really fun. We'll see you next time.
Yeah, till next time.
SummoNerds out.